You can hear Monica.
Yeah, Sean.
Thanks, Sean. All right. Apologize for-
Madam President, this time everyone from the Zoom meeting has been brought into and we are recording.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I apologize for the delay. Call the meeting of the City of Tonawanda Council to order. Can you please call the roll?
Lalanich,
Here.
Nocera,
Here.
Rautenstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here. All right, let's go through the agenda. This evening, the mayor is presenting the Veteran of the Month Award. Mr. Pelosi's family will be in attendance. And let's go through the resolutions. On the minutes.
Sure.
Go there.
I'm sorry, Madam President, what? Who is resolution one?
The council.
Okay, thank you.
On the bills. Any
I'll take it.
questions? Mr. Mylan, any questions? Okay. Next is the resolution relative to 880 Young Street, which we talked about. Any questions on that? Comments? Want to do council?
Sure.
Council? Council? Sure. Okay. Next is the resolution for the Ice Park Improvement Project. To be awarded $78,567. Questions on that?
We paid that money out, right? This is the reimbursement.
Correct. Questions on? Anything else? Who wants it? Monica. Okay. Next is the special events application for the Love Basket or Snuggled in Love Basket raffle at Betts Park. Questions or comments? Who'd like it?
I'll take it, Madam President.
Mr. Armstrong? Okay, so the next resolutions are for the volunteer fire companies. And I know Mr. Rautenstrau wanted to amend the resolution so that we receive the notices by February 1st. Is everybody in agreement with that?
I just have a note on it. Sometimes when the fire companies, like in their January year, when they do their turnover of maybe some elected officers, that sometimes the books or the checkbook gets audited by a committee and they may not have it back in time for February 1st. So if March 1st is agreeable, maybe just, that's just from, personal, information that I have when I was treasurer over at Delaware Hose. It was usually sometimes because it's tax season and they pick a tax preparer to do that little audit of their finances. Sometimes it's right in the middle of their heavy season, so it may not be back. So if we can do March 1st, because April 1st is the check date usually.
Does that give us enough time to review the finances? Everybody go with March 1st? Okay.
That's fair enough.
So Madam President, number 3, so under the resolution where it says now therefore in consideration, number 1, 2, number 3 will be,
That the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds
I'm sure.
no later than March 1st.
so the fire chief will provide and
2023.
will provide an accounting of the, I'm sorry, one more time, please.
The fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st. Everybody good with that verbiage?
Can I ask a question? I don't know if it would be Carl's liaison or if maybe Chief McNulty knows. We've been doing this for a couple of years and there's always a little stumbling. We've got the expenditure reports the past couple of years, which is great to have a comparison. And we do always talk about, it's not so much, we're looking to beat them up on it, but we want to make sure that they're getting enough. But just in line with that, last year when we talked about this and we were facing the deficit and whatnot, we did bring up the point about possibly consolidating the four. Is that a possibility? I don't think anybody really spoke to that. And just for, I guess, my own benefit, because I'm actually asking the question for the benefit of the city. Is there a benefit? Is it possible to combine the four? I guess, why are there four separate ones? Because when you look at some of the expenditures, there's definitely some duplication in costs. When you're talking about insurance on all four places at, $700 and some each, some of the utilities and phones and even some of the administrative duties as well. Again, I'm just more out of my own curiosity to fully understand it.
I believe years ago it was addressed, and I'm going back to before when Delaware Hose was actually on Young Street. And the topic came up and it was discussed probably in length and detail when the four fire companies were together at a meeting. I think it was a president's meeting. And then following probably within a year and a half, the city closed the Young Street Fire Hall. And then they bought the house next to the fire headquarters with the intention on combining the four fire companies and expanding fire headquarters over to where that home stood previously. Mario in attendance, probably the chief probably remembers. I know there's a lot of people in attendance that it was discussed in length, and then they decided then that it just wasn't advantageous to divide the four fire companies beyond what they already had been done as far as like separate quarters, separate meeting rooms. And as far as, like the expenditures go, there is a duplication of services as far as like officers, president, vice president, treasurer, secretary, those kind of officers. But then there is all the non-paid things that all four fire companies do within their halls. They maintain them as far as being clean, hospitable for the public when they do have an event. We haven't been able to have any events as far as like fundraisers in the past few years. So as you look at their expenditures compared to what the city check is, there's three fire companies that are running at a deficit right now.
Right.
So now what they're doing is they're relying on what they had saved years back from ham raffles, turkey raffles, 50-50, split clubs, etc. So they're unable to do those right now, but hopefully in the future, as membership rises, that will happen again.
Gotcha. And just the idea of consolidation of some of them, it's just, is it more of an identity thing? Is it because it stretches between city of Tonawanda and North Tonawanda?
I don't believe there's been any successful consolidation of any volunteer fire departments in a city in recent memory in the area.
Okay.
That will probably be a negative effect, and you'll lose members because now they don't have an identity. So we do march and parade as a city of Tonawanda Fire Department, but we do have our own separate identities.
Piggybacking on that, there are some companies that we are giving a check to tonight that have responded to 0 calls with 0 members and have 0 training hours. And in the resolution, it states, that this is for service to the city. So my question is, what service are they providing for us to give them the $6,500? And I'm not against giving it to them, but the way that the resolution states that, it's for service to the city, there's one company that has no training hours and no members that have responded to any calls. So I spoke with Jenna prior to the meeting, and I'm fine giving it to him because I know they can't raise their own money and it is an identity thing and, you know, but I think that we do need as a council, along with the fire department to pull the guys together and see what we can do to better increase their services and increase their numbers.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I mean, I even floated to Jenna, you know, let's think way outside the box. Certain amount of calls, certain amount of training hours, maybe you get a tax break. Something big to up these
Incentivize.
numbers. Because you know, I mean, you know, the numbers just keep going down.
I remember that there was a pension that was floated a few years back that was summarily turned down by the council that was in play that. They just said they didn't want to extend the money to do that. Maybe now we can revisit that.
I don't think anything's off the table.
No,
But I think we should kind of form a committee or form an exploratory or whatever you want to call it.
it can be used as a recruiting tool because we don't have much to offer when a new member comes in and looks and says, well, what do you have to offer me? And we could tell them, well, it's a lot of training, it's a lot of hard work, and congratulations, you know,
Right.
we'll split, you know, your uniform fee with you.
Right.
But other districts, other fire companies offer a pension. Town of Tonawanda has a pension system, and it's based on exactly what you just said, based on a number of calls, training hours, and years service. So like after you have 3 years service, you're vetted into the pension fund. It's not much. Some of them might be around the neighborhood of like a pension of $45 to $60 a month. It's something, But
Take a guess.
it does not have a ceiling.
Right.
So Carl, do you want to reach out to the presidents and see if we can get a meeting together with each of them?
Absolutely.
Sure.
Please.
Sure, chief.
Sure, chief. Come on up.
I'm not speaking on behalf of the volunteers, but I'm speaking on behalf of our combination. I understand that the numbers are low. It scares me. It scares me because what we provide on duty, we have to supplement with what we can't. So getting into this year, I know the numbers are low, but I've been talking to all the volunteer companies in regards to what can we do to recruit and retain. So we're looking at different things, such as the LoSAP program where you would get a little benefit that was really close to being
What was the name of that program?
LoSAP. It's one of the benefits that could be provided, such as the town of Tonawanda, they're providing. I'm looking at fitness incentive programs, possibly having a fitness area to attract people to come in. So I understand that the numbers are low. But by taking that money away, I'm worried that it's going to make it even
Oh,
more.
I-
Not looking to
Chief,
take it away.
just to
Not
clarify,
giving-
I
no,
don't-
no.
I don't think any of us are,
No.
and I don't want to, divert from the conversation because I don't think we're going to be able to solve that tonight, but I don't think any of us are up here are talking about not adopting this resolution.
Absolutely not.
Looking ways to
Just
benefit.
be aware that I am, I am looking at going forward, what we could do. If consolidation was something that we would entertain, there's 100 years of history amongst the board. If we could figure out a way to do that, I don't think we would want to take money away, but they could put it together and use it a little bit more productively. But that's something that it's going to take some time to discuss with the companies, and I'm working on discussing that going forward with them.
And that was kind of my point in talking about the consolidation. Instead of paying multiple insurances, multiple administrative fees,
Right.
to be able to have that money to be put towards, funding it for supplies, for fundraising to help with, kickstart some of the fundraising that you guys do, to put it towards supplies that you need or put it towards recruitment efforts. It just seems to make a little more sense.
Absolutely. They're each incorporated right now, so it's quite a process to, you have to unincorporate each of the companies and reincorporate one volunteer company, or if you did 2 and 2.
And then what becomes of all the
What-
rest,
we
that's
got
the
some
other thing.
recruitment efforts going forward this year, and we're not alone in this. It's nationwide. It's hard to find, it's hard to do the hours and the required training time in. With family commitments and multiple jobs, 2 people working in family, it's tough. So we're looking for different ways to attract people to come in and help us, because we are a combination department. It is essential that we have it, but we're afraid to discourage anything further.
That was the point, is if we need to throw more money in it to help with recruiting, to
I got one more
just
point.
better use what we have so that we can up those
Mhm.
numbers.
I do.
There
That's
was
the goal.
never anything of
Yeah.
taking money away.
Okay.
Mr.
Thank you very
Nocera?
much.
Well, so the insurance policy that we split between the 4 fire companies is mandated by the city on the 4 fire companies. We just split it evenly. So it's not multiple insurance policies. It's just one that we pay our share. Each fire company pays their share.
Gotcha. Nobody clarified that. For me. I thought there was 4 different.
If there's separate insurance policies, it's for like their parade equipment, their parade truck, and that's just a separate liability insurance.
All right, thank you, Mr. Nocera. So next steps, Mr. Nocera, if you can see if maybe all the presents are available May 3rd, that gives some time. Maybe we can look into the LoSAP program prior to as well.
I will keep you advised on that day
Perfect.
with everybody.
Okay. So resolution 6. This is the agreement with the Delaware Hose Company. Do we want to do council on this?
Yes.
We should do council on all.
Original.
Really?
Delaware. Oh, do you want? Okay. All right. So just again, that will say the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023.
6, 7, 8, 9.
Yes. Now, resolution 7 is the national hose. Do we want to do council on that?
Yep.
Okay. And again, this resolution will say, number 3, the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023. Okay. Then next is the Niagara hose. Council on this?
Yes,
Very good, okay. And then this resolution will also read on number 3, the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st of 2023. And then next is the Union Hook and Ladder Company. Council on that, everybody good with that?
Yes.
And then this resolution will also read, number 3, the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023. All right, perfect. I'm going to make a motion to go into executive session for personnel of a particular person. Do I have a second? Seconded by Ms. Lalanish. All those in favor?
Aye.
Yeah. So, Mr. Clerk, executive at 6:23.
Thank you. At this time, everyone in the Zoom meeting will be placed into the waiting room until the executive session is completed. The recording will be also paused at this time. Madam President, at this time, everyone from the waiting room has been brought back into the Zoom meeting, and we are recording at this time.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Before we meet with the LDC, let's go around the room. Ms. Lalanish, do you have anything? Any new business, anything for us to?
Is this where I would maybe give an update on,
You can, or you can wait until the final. Like if a resident has reached out to you with a concern, or if you
no.
wanted to talk about any liaison
oh, this
positions
would
you
be
oversee.
now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
The Youth Bureau
Yes.
met last night and they have some very interesting ideas that they're considering coming up in the spring and summer months. They haven't finalized anything yet, but they have some fresh ideas. And it may necessitate having conversations with the Director of Parks and Rec, or kind of coordinating with some other departments in the city. So I just wanted to share that they are increasing. They'll be reaching out to the mayor's office, informing you of new members that they would it's just really exciting to see them and getting energized.
Thank you for that update. Mr. Nocera?
Just a quick update, and I'll save the rest for at the end. The school board met, and it was a great thing to see that they had a lot of scholar athletes that were recognized. They came up individually if they were there. They received a T-shirt and a pin, and congratulations all to them. It's very hard work. They all performed wonderfully, 90% academically, and they excelled at their sports. So it was nice to see in here. And as far as the new building is concerned, that's right on target, right on plan, and hopefully with the break in the weather, they'll be able to do a lot more in the areas that are weather dependent. That's all.
Mr. Rounstrau?
I have a couple things. Just with traffic and safety, the one outside, we have the one issue with the parking that Carol brought up, that's still being reviewed. It'll be discussed at the next meeting. Joe Worthling did take me out to Adam and Franklin, and we discussed that area coming out of Old Man River and some of the parking situations. After some talk back and forth, there's only so much you can do. It as well. There's a good amount of signs over there. The talk about the painting of the streets seemed to be a little too much because people are looking up as a safety issue rather than looking down. And I think some of that's dependent on whether or not they're going to have the parking lot open for business, if they're going to be doing seating in there or not. If they are, he said, if they are not, if people are parking in there, it would be a good idea to put another one-way sign at the exit or the entrance to that driveway to kind of make a point of it. I think that should be reasonable enough. I mean, I think to an extent for events and stuff, that it comes down to maybe utilizing fire police and maybe a little extra patrol over there to keep an eye on things. I did bring it up and you guys answered the question, but I just want to say it publicly in regards to the bocce ball courts. There was some hubbub and rumor that it was moving to the river, but I think that was some talk, and we just talked about it here, and that's getting repaired at Clinton Park and staying where it is. I just wanted that out there for people. And just one other thing that
To clarify, I think the mayor wants to just connect with the senior citizens group just to make sure that that's their
that is what they want
desire.
to. Gotcha.
And then a final decision will
Okay.
be made. But I think it was just more of a discussion as a convenience to move it there, so it's close to the bathroom.
Yes.
That was the main reason. The reason why was, it was in dismay, they need to be replaced. Our thought was moving it down to the river where there are bathrooms where they could utilize those. It's a nicer venue down there. We can't put a pop-up porta john in Clinton Park. It just wouldn't look, the aesthetics would be terrible. So it was just a thought, it was only conversation, and they got wind of it, which is no problem. So again, discussions will happen. We'll sit down and talk to them, and Joey, we will keep it at Clinton Park. So again, it's just discussions. We'll work through it. There's no problems. And I have no problem with that. And we will make, Jenna's gonna set up a meeting with the seniors. We'll sit down with them and let them know that, what our thoughts are, and we will support them. So moving forward.
And then to the bocce courts, I know Monica was going to reach out to Mandy to make sure that project's on target. We have the funds available, and that was through the Erie County Urban Initiative funding. So we just want to make sure that project's still moving forward, and Monica is going to ask on a completion date, so she'll pass that on to
Excellent.
us.
And the reason I asked was neighbors in my ward have been asking about when that was going to be completed as well. So thank you for speaking to that. One other thing, it's kind of a new subject, but I wanted to bring it up and maybe run it by the council. This COT Neighbors United are doing, I've seen it on Facebook, and they advertise that they're doing a canal cleanup on April 23rd. I'm going to re-mention that in my closing comments for everybody. But that kind of reminded me, I was talking to a couple residents prior to this. We've had some other team up to cleanup groups that kind of jump on this, and they've done some great jobs, and it's great to encourage these people to do that. A friend of mine that kind of moved back into the city and lives over on the canal end of things. It had asked about, they get out there and do that. His friend, he takes a walk down there every day, and he kind of likes to, kind of step out, and he picks up some garbage and throws a pair of gloves on, and it's part of his daily exercise routine while he's walking his dog or doing some stuff there. And he kind of brought up the idea of it would be kind of cool if, either over somewhere on the canal at the boathouse or somewhere else to have maybe some sort of public place where somebody can go and grab a couple garbage bags or pick up something if they're so inclined to take a walk and do that. I think, if that's something we can discuss with Mandy at Parks and Rec, if that's something we could possibly do, and maybe even take that a step further. We talk about committees that we have to get certain things done. We're talking about the playground committee and a couple other things. And I mean, possibly, somebody to kind of bring people together and to volunteer to bring some of these cleanup groups together. I think the COT Neighbors United are just starting to do this. The Team Up to Clean Up and Lions Club and a bunch of other groups have started doing this. I'd like to see us find more ways to facilitate that. Obviously, our DPW, our Parks and Rec, are very busy, and people are, want to get out there and want to make their areas better and don't necessarily want to wait for them to get to it. So I think, if we could do something to help facilitate that process, it would be great. So just kind of throwing it out there and out for your consideration.
Councilmember Rautenstrau, would that be like the adopt a highway kind of thing, where there's a length of canal or waterfront that a particular service group wanted to adopt? And then, they would have a signage.
Yeah.
Perhaps display that this is our, section.
I think that'd be some great ideas. We have a cemetery committee that gets out there and does that. The Karchers that owned the restaurant up there, I'm thinking of the new name now, Chim's Oasis. Billy Gins. They talked about that a lot. They would go out there and they would do some pickup around the area and bring some other people in to do that as well. It'd be kind of great if, people want to do that. People are proud of their community and want to do what they can to make it better. Give them the opportunity to own it and get out there and do it.
That's cool. That's perfect.
I'll be quick because I know the LDC is here. And we briefly discussed, it's kind of great. This whole segue is what I swear we didn't talk about this beforehand. I wanted to discuss forming a committee for the fire departments, the volunteer fire departments, to help see how we can increase membership. So kind of already talked about that. But last year, very briefly, I had a discussion with Mandy about ways to kind of alleviate some of the day-to-day work that was going on with the department, especially with beautifying downtown. And we kind of discussed using a model like we see in North Tonawanda with the flower boxes, where the city provides the flowers for the boxes, and then the businesses would be responsible for the upkeep. And kind of like Monica just said, we could put a sign in each box, this box sponsored by XYZ, whichever business. And it doesn't just have to be downtown. I get a lot of phone calls about the ride into Tonawanda from military. Yeah, it's being addressed. Well, that's good because the trees continually die from the salt. But even those businesses up there could sponsor a planting box. Yep. And have that taken care of. And then the watering and the upkeep is taken off of Mandy's department where it would be on the businesses to do. Okay. Then the last thing, I had a phone call last April. We did a lot of work up at the American Legion Mall at Veterans Park, pulling the old flowers, planting, weeding, upkeep. And we'd like to do that again. They have very limited funding. So I'm kind of coming to the council to see if, and anybody out there who is possibly able to donate or from the city, some funds towards flowers, weed prevention, anything like that up at the veteran or the Legion Wall, not the Vietnam Wall, but the Legion Wall. I have an email out to Mandy, but I believe she's not in, to see what the process was in the past years for getting the flowers, if it was through her department or if it was where it was from. But I would really like the city to help that that group out with the purchasing and cleanup up there. That's coming up soon. So hopefully we can discuss something to help those folks out.
Once you hear back, just let us know. what we need to do.
I will.
And I added that to my list, so I'll bring that up when I meet with him.
Thank you.
Mayor?
Just one quick thing is there is going to be a Canal Fest, everybody knows, 17th to the 24th of July. Whether there's going to be rides or not, we're not sure yet. Okay, it all depends on the blocking off of Main Street in North Tonawanda. The state has to do that and give them permission. If they do not allow them to do it, there will be a Canal Fest minus rides. That's all we can say right now. So a lot of people are asking our council people, so there is going to be a supposed Canal Fest between the 17th and the 24th. I went to 2 meetings, John went to both those meetings with me, so as of right now, there is going to be. And the last thing is there's going to be 4th of July,
Mayor, to that, we will have to have a council resolution once we,
once we find out.
you know, with the ride vendor, you know, what the situation is. Now, I know that North Tonawanda has requested the closure of Main Street.
Right.
And that was going to be an 8-week
Right.
response time.
Yep.
So as soon as we hear from North Tonawanda, we'll let everybody know. If the state DOT will not let the closure of Main Street, then in all likelihood, there will not be rides. So then the Canal Fest committee
We'll make the
would
decision.
come to the municipalities to say, you know, here's our events. But this is what they've tentatively scheduled. And then they'll come back to us to say if it's X days, if it's, here's what's going on. Just,
Stay tuned.
yes.
So when you say no rides, it also means no midway, correct?
That
No,
would-
no.
Right,
Means no nothing.
All right, so.
Parade still?
Pardon?
Parade though?
parade. The Plan B would be, yes, a parade, the bike show,
We don't want to cancel.
movie night, community movie night,
Sure. Thank you.
so more to come.
Thank you.
The fireworks you mentioned.
I'll bring them next time. We got, LDC.
Okay, well, let's bring up the LDC. Thanks so much for coming.
Okay,
Hi.
Hey,
so we just want to give you kind of a rough, like, some footnotes of what we've been doing. So,
If you just want to state your names for everybody watching on Zoom.
that's right.
My name is Marian Kinsella, 48 Gap Terrace, treasurer of LDC.
Samantha Scotto, 130 Clinton Street, vice chair of LBC.
Yeah, so we're up here presenting on behalf of Don Benoit, the chair. I'll start off and then pass it over to Sam. Currently, we have 8 members. Don Benoit's our chair, Sam Moscato is our vice chair, myself, Marian Kinsella is the treasurer. We've got Lindsay Jelski as a board member, Mario Pena, who's here as a board member, Marty Brunswick is a board member, as well as Fred Coles and Joe Hogenkamp. We have a website called cityoftonawanda.ldc.com, as well as a Facebook page, City of Tonawanda LDC, and I have some business cards to hand out when we're done.
So the last event we did was a meet and greet for all the businesses in the city of Tonawanda. We went and hand delivered invitations. We had a really good turnout. We had about 50 participants. We went over some upcoming grants. It was a lot of a networking events just for other businesses, businesses. We're gonna keep it going. We're gonna try for every 3 months, give or take, just hold them at other City of Tonawanda businesses. So just to kind of get everybody to know each other. We're going to continue our business spotlights on Facebook. We've been doing it once a week. All the participants seem to love it. What else? Okay, so we are going to start or continue the zoning. And obviously with all your guys' help, we're gonna be able to, we rehired Jason Knight to help us with it. A lot of you already know what's kind of going
Came
on
back
with
to
it.
board?
So he's back.
He's back?
Yeah, absolutely, 100%.
Yeah, so I mean, he's under contract to complete the zoning that's already been reviewed and essentially approved by the council of the city. So we're just trying to push this forward to get it completed this year.
Well, just to clarify, so there has to be a public hearing
Yeah.
on it, so it hasn't been approved yet.
Right.
Yeah.
No, we're not that far, but
Okay.
I think everybody, let me rephrase and say that I believe everybody's in agreement with the zoning that's been presented already. But we're in the beginning stages of the whole approval process, so we're gonna reach out to all of the appropriate stakeholders, so the council people. We're gonna have to have public meetings, and that's where we're gonna need your help. But Jason's gonna drive everything.
Perfect, okay.
Can I get a copy of all the members you had on the board, you said? You listed them, or are they on your website?
They're on our website, but I
Okay.
can also get you a copy
Thanks.
as well.
Give me that.
Yeah, and then, basically, the mission of the LDC is really just to bring the community stakeholders together, bring our businesses together, kind of be the face for businesses and help them. We would like to assist in bringing new businesses into the city while maintaining our current businesses and really just look to network and build those relationships with businesses not only on Main Street, but all around the city, because we know there's a lot of different pockets at that point. So
Yeah, there's some good grants coming out, hopefully in April, so I've been communicating with some people in Erie County. But they're gonna be releasing like $10 million, so we're gonna get everybody do the proper work, the workshops and all that, if it does actually come, so.
Do you have your own grant writer? Do you have?
No, not yet, no. No, but from what I understand is if they do release the Erie County one, they're gonna be doing workshops and will like come here and kind of help us work through it, so.
And that's something that we can help support.
Yeah, absolutely. And if that one ends up not being released, there is the fascia one that's been around for a long time. That the owners or the renters can match up to like $7,500. So there's a lot of good things out there that we're just gonna help people find, because a lot of people know they exist, so.
I have a question on the rezoning, because this was back in November of 2020, I believe, or.
it's been going on for quite a while.
And then the last update we had was November of 2020. And do you have an anticipated start date of when the notices would go out and when there would be a public hearing and?
Give us about
A week,
a week or so,
Okay.
we're getting a calendar together, I think we would like to target the summer
Okay,
at the latest, if not before that, but.
We are gonna have a timeline.
Yeah, we're putting together a timeline, a calendar, we're gonna share everything with you, so.
perfect.
At this point, we're not fully prepared to talk zoning, we just wanted to give you an update of what we've been doing, introduce ourselves, because we're all here on the new board, and just let you know to reach out to us with any questions.
Well, I think that's wonderful.
Anything else?
No, but if any of your members do need a copy of this from Jason from November of 2020.
I got it.
Okay.
And we have Jason drafting additional communications that'll go to the city, everything like that. So that is, we've been meeting with him for a few months now.
Okay. I know that's been a long time coming. Great. And keep sharing any events, updates.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we can certainly. Well,
Your
thank
meet and
you.
greet was very nice.
It was a lot of fun. It was nice.
Good to see you together.
It's a great turnout.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, we're looking, June will be the next one, so we'll keep everybody posted.
Awesome. Great work.
Good job.
All right. So all I had, we put out the notice about the playground committee. I know we had 3 participants that had expressed interest, so I will move forward with a resolution on that. And I'll be sending out an email to our engineer, just looking for an update. I know we had a public hearing on the East Niagara Street pedestrian bridge over Elephant Creek, and I know there was some discussions back and forth about if we were going to replace it or to repair it, or so.
15 different people. Oh,
Oh, really? So is it, it's still on hold?
It's still a discussion.
Okay.
Unfortunately.
Okay, well, that answers the question.
Yeah,
So we probably don't have a date of.
no, not yet, yeah.
Okay.
I was told it'd be most of the summer.
Oh, okay, okay. All right, perfect. That's all I had. All right, so let's take a few minute break before we go out on the floor.
I'm sorry.
Okay, at this time, everyone in the Zoom meeting will be placed in the waiting room until 7 o'clock when the formal meeting will start.
Nice.
Madam President, at this time, everyone's been brought into the from the waiting room, and we are recording at this time.
Hey, Mr. Clerk. All right, it's 7:01. It's called meeting of the City of Tonawanda Council to order. Can you please call the roll?
Lolanich,
Here.
Nocera,
Here.
Rautenstrau,
Here.
Mylum,
Here.
Cook.
Here, if we can please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please stand. People are often unreasonable and self-centered. Forgive them anyway. If you are kind, people may accuse you of ulterior motives. Be kind anyway. If you are honest, people may cheat you. Be honest anyway. If you find happiness, people may be jealous. Be happy anyway. The good you do today may be forgotten tomorrow, but do good anyway. Give the world the best you have, and it may never be enough, but give your best anyway. Give the world, for you see, in the end, it is between you and your higher power. It was never between you and them anyway. Amen. You may be seated. That was from our Associate Chaplain, Brenda Whalen. All right, I'd like to turn it over to the mayor for the presentation, the monthly presentation to our veterans.
Great. You. Every month, we present to a veteran of the month. And we started this last month. This is our second one coming up. And what we do is we hang the certificate up with the veteran that we are honoring right in the hallway. When you walk in, you'll see last month right there on the right. And they'll stay up there for another month until the second meeting, which is the third Tuesday of the month. We'll do another one. This month is, whole little synopsis here. It's my distinct honor and privilege to nominate Ronald J. Pelosi to Veteran of the Month in the city of Tonawanda. Ron Pelosi had an extremely impressive military career. Ron took an oath of office to serve our country in 1969. He served in the U.S. Army until 1972. I call him Ron. Ron served as a field artillery person in the 101st Airborne Division, sustained wounds while serving for our country. Ron Pelosi has received the following military awards and decorations. Ron received the Bronze Star, the Air Medal, the National Defense Service Medal, the Vietnam Campaign Medal, the Vietnam Service Medal, and more importantly, he received the Purple Heart. And Ron Pelosi was honorably discharged at the rank of captain. I respectfully request that Ron Pelosi is hereby rewarded the Veteran of the Month in the city of Tonawanda. So without any further ado, I know Ron's not here, but if this family member, I think, oh, there we go. Come on up.
Maybe wear a shirt and tie today.
You look good in a shirt and tie. You do. Well, thank you very much.
Hey, thank you so much.
This, I will stop at the house and talk to your dad. You can take this with him. This is the certificate of recognition for Mr. Ron Pelosi.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you to the Pelosi family for being here. Communications from the mayor have been ordered and filed. Communications from city officials and correspondence have also been ordered and filed. We are not going into executive session. And just for point, resolution 6, 7, 8, and 9 will include the following. Number 3, the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public on the resolutions. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so now. For those that are joining us in person, please feel free to come forward. Mr. Clerk, anyone who's joining us virtually wish to comment on the resolutions?
Madam President, at this time, I do not show anyone in the Zoom call looking to make any comments on the resolutions.
Okay. Hearing and seeing none, let's roll.
Resolution number 1 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolved that the common council minutes from March 1st, 2022 be accepted as filed.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 2 by Councilmember Mylum.
Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Nocera.
Resolved that the bills be allowed as audited.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 3 by the council, seconded by the council. Whereas there is a commercial building commonly known as 880 Young Street, which is situated in the city of Tonawanda and the town of Tonawanda. And whereas at the present time, the said commercial building is vacant. And there is a proposal from New York Tonawanda Self-Storage LLC to convert the existing retail structure to a self-storage facility. And whereas, in order to avoid the duplication of services, inspections, and expenses in this project, the city of Tonawanda, pursuant to New York State General Municipal Law, Section 119-0, desires to enter into an intermunicipal cooperation agreement with the town of Tonawanda, wherein the town would be processing all of the land use applications for the project, including but not limited to any required applications for special use permit, site plan approval, variances, subdivision, and/or building permits. Now therefore be resolved that Mayor White is authorized and directed to execute an intermunicipal cooperation agreement with the town of Tonawanda for 880 Young Street project.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 4 by Councilmember Lulanich.
Do we have a second?
I'll take a minute.
Second by Mr. Mylan.
Whereas in 2014, the city of Tonawanda was awarded a $78,567 park development grant from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation for the Ive Park Improvements Project. And whereas as of December 31st, 2021, the Ives Park Improvements Project is complete and requires a reimbursement submittal and final report to close out contract C140277 and with the New York State OPPR RHP. Now therefore be resolved that Mr. John White, as mayor of the city of Tonawanda, is hereby authorized as the official contract signatory for the city of Tonawanda EPF grant number 140277 from the New York State Office of Parks, Recreation, and Historic Preservation in accordance with the provisions of Title IX of the Environmental Protection Act of 1993.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 5 by Councilmember Rautenstrau.
Do we have a second?
I'll take it.
Second by Mr. Nocera.
Whereas a special events application was received by the city clerk for Snuggled in Love basket raffle at Veterans Park, and whereas the application was reviewed and commented on by all appropriate department heads to ensure the safety and well-being of our residents, and whereas all details of the above named event must be coordinated with the Recreation Director, Amanda Loft, and the event chairperson, now therefore be resolved that permission is granted to Snuggle in Love to conduct its event on June 4th, 2022, from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. And also resolved that a certificate of insurance be submitted to the city clerk no later than May 27th, 2022, naming the city of Tonawanda as additionally insured.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 6 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolved that the mayor be authorized and directed to sign the following agreement. This agreement made the first day of April 2022 by and between the city of Tonawanda, a municipal corporation situate within the county of Erie and the state of New York, hereinafter called the city, and Delaware Hose Company number 2, a volunteer fire company organized and existing within the city of Tonawanda, hereinafter called company. Witness, whereas the said company furnished the fire protection to said city and maintains facilities and personnel to answer calls and fire alarms for the protection and preservation from city of life and property. Now therefore, in consideration of the covenants and agreements here and after set forth, the parties hereto agreed as follows. Number 1, the company agrees to maintain and furnishes at all times protection from fire of life and property in the city of Tonawanda, and to maintain and furnish the services of the volunteer members of said companies in so protecting life and property. Number 2, the city agrees to make payments to said company in the following manner: a sum of $6,500 payable on the first day of April 2022. Number 3, the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 7 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolved that the mayor be authorized and directed to sign the following agreement. This agreement made the first day of April 2022 by and between the city of Tonawanda, a municipal corporation situate within this county of Erie and the state of New York, hereinafter called the city, and the National Hose Company number 1, a volunteer fire company organized and existing within the city of Tonawanda, hereinafter called company. Witness, whereas the said company furnished the fire protection to and said city and maintains facilities and personnel to answer calls and fire alarms for the protection and preservation from fire of life and property. Now therefore, in consideration of the covenants and agreements hereinafter set forth, the parties hereto agree as follows. Number one, the company agrees to maintain and furnish at all times protection from fire of life and property in the city of Tonawanda, and to maintain and furnish the services of the volunteer members of said companies in so protecting life and property. Number two, the city agrees to make the payments to the said company in the following manner. The sum of $6,500 payable on the first day of April 2022. Number three, the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Malanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 8 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolved that the mayor be authorized and directed to sign the following agreement. This agreement made the first day of April 2022 by and between the city of Tonawanda, a municipal corporation situate with the city, with the county of Erie and the state of New York, hereinafter called the city, and the Niagara Hose Company number 3, a volunteer fire company organized and existing within the city of Tonawanda, hereinafter called company. Witnessed, whereas the said company furnished fire protection to said city and maintains facilities and personnel to answer calls and fire alarms for the protection and preservation from fire of life and property. Now therefore, in consideration of the covenants and agreements hereinafter set forth, the parties hereto agree as follows. Number one, the company agrees to maintain and furnish at all times protection from fire of life and property in the city of Tonawanda, and to maintain and furnish the services of volunteer members of said companies in so protecting life and property. Number two, the city agrees to make payments to said company in the following manner. The sum of $6,500 payable on the first day of April 2022. Number three, fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds payable to the city. Accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Malanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Mylum,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted.
Resolution number 9 by the council, seconded by the council. Resolved that the mayor is be authorized and directed to sign the following agreement. This agreement made the first day of April 2022 by and between the city of Tonawanda, a municipal corporation situate with the county of Erie and the state of New York, hereinafter called the city, and Union Hook and Ladder Company number 1, a volunteer fire company organized and existing within the city of Tonawanda, hereinafter called company. Witnessed, whereas the said company furnished fire protection to said city and maintains facilities and personnel to answer calls and fire alarms for the protection and preservation from fire of life and property. Now therefore, in consideration of the covenants and agreements hereinafter set forth, the parties hereto agree as follows. Number one, the company agrees to maintain and furnish at all times protection from fire of life and property in the city of Tonawanda, and to maintain and furnish the services of the volunteer members of said companies in so protecting life and property. The city agrees to make payments.
We give them these 23 days back.
The city agrees to make payments to the said company in the following manner. The sum of $6,500 payable on the first day of April 2022. And number 3, the fire chief will provide an annual accounting of funds to the city no later than March 1st, 2023.
Comments or questions? Please call the roll.
Lulanich,
Aye.
Nocera,
Aye.
Rautenstrau,
Aye.
Milo,
Aye.
Cook.
I declare the resolution adopted. At this time, we'll now take comments by the public following the resolutions. For those that are joining us virtually, there is a spot for you to raise your hand. Please do so at this time. For those that are joining us in person, please come forward.
Christopher Fisher, 413 Main Street. I'm excited to see former Mayor Ron Pelosi be honored today as the city's Veteran of the Month. Ron and his wife have been married 52 years. They were actually married here at the St. Francis Church in the city of Tonawanda. Ron has been serving the city well before he won his first election in 1994. And Ron has served as one of our council members and as our mayor. I personally applaud Ron Pelosi for his military service in Vietnam, and service to our city. I would like to make a suggestion to the council. To honor former Mayor Pelosi as one of our greatest former mayors, I suggest amending the name of Nyawanda Park Pavilion to the Ronald J. Pelosi Pavilion. The town of Tonawanda sold the naming rights to their pavilion. We should use ours and do good to honor not only a mayor who did right things for our city, but was a decorated Vietnam veteran. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Fisher. Any other comments? Mr. Clerk, anyone who's joining us virtually wish to address the council?
Madam President, at this time, I do not show anyone in the Zoom meeting looking to make any comments at this time.
Thank you. Mr. Nocera.
Going out of order.
I am. Mhm.
That's okay. I just wanted also congratulations to Mr. Pelosi. Early on, January last year, I sought out his advice and some much needed encouragement from him about seeking election to this common council. He was very open with me on his comments, and his questions helped me make the decision to go ahead and run for the position. Also, I'd like to congratulate Jenna for taking the lead with Ron and getting donations for the Ukrainian relief effort. All of the money that was collected and the goods that were shipped with Lydia on Friday past, hopefully will give it some small solace that we in the city of Tonawanda are caring folks. We're part of the city of good neighbors just by geographical location. I hope that it will continue and give others a chance to donate to that much worthy cause. If we set something up here at the city hall, it would be great. The podcast and the newsletter continue to be well received. The podcast last Tuesday was recorded. It was number 7. Jenna was our guest. It was a fantastic half hour that we spent together. And I'd like to congratulate Delaware Hose Company on 140 years of service to the city of Tonawanda. At our reunion coming up on Saturday, we will be unveiling our restored charter that we received from New York State 140 years ago this May. So I'm going to put a picture of that up on my Facebook page so everybody could take a look at that. It was restored in Chicago at a professional restoration document company, and they did a fantastic job. As you can imagine, 140 years of pollution, smoke, misuse, abuse, being misstored. It was a Herculean effort, but they did the job. That's all I have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Nocera. Mrs. Lulanich.
Thank you, Carl. Just a thank you to former Mayor Pelosi and his family. He, in addition to being a great leader, is just a good human. So thank you for being here. And that's it. That's all I have tonight.
Thank you, Mrs. Lalonich. Mr. Rautenstrau.
Thank you, Madam President. I too would like to start just to say thank you to Mayor Pelosi for your service, to our country and to our community. It's an honor to honor you today as our Veteran of the Month. I also want to mention Green Beer Sunday last weekend was a great event. My thanks out to Judge Saltarelli for putting that together every year for the 7th annual Green Beer Sunday, I believe. And it was actually my first time getting the opportunity to go to it. So it was really a great time. I also wanted to, remind everybody too, I mentioned it earlier in the around the room, but the April 23rd canal cleanup, COT Neighbors United are organizing that and getting people together. And I think it's a great idea. And if people are so inclined and want to get out there and help out, and just a reminder that it's that day as well. And just an additional thanks to the LDC for coming in today and speaking to us. Since I've been appointed as liaison, it's been a pleasure working with them and seeing them grow into what they've become. They've touched on the zoning as part of this. I just kind of want to remind the residents and the council that the LDC, the zoning is an evolution of things that have been going on since 2015. This goes back to the public outreach, the public documents of the LWRP, the comprehensive plan, the Main Street program, residential program, some of the Blueways and Greenways plans that documented a lot of this stuff and took some public outreach to find out what our residents wanted to see happen in our city and move forward with. The zoning was something that was touched on, and I think it's a great opportunity to fix some of the problems, to bring in a new zoning into our city and modernize what we're doing here. So thank you to the LDC for taking that project on. And that's actually all I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Rautenstrau. Mr. Mylum.
Thank you, Madam President. I'm going to be very quick tonight. I'd just like to thank the Pelosi family for sharing Ron with us. When folks are elected, you don't realize that it's the family that's elected too, and they become a public servant as well. And you serve right alongside. So thank you so much. When one of our former council members left, the comment was, as you go through life, you realize that the good friends you can count on one hand, and Ron's one of those. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Mylum. Mayor.
Yeah, a couple of things. Chris and family, congratulations, but more than anything, our well wishes and prayers are with you and your family. We're behind you 100%, and anything you need, please call. LDC, thank you for coming in. We wish you the best, and we're looking forward to good things in the future. I've created a new committee called the Mayor's Office of Strategic Initiative and Community Engagement. And it's just a long word, but it accomplishes a lot of things and encompasses quite a bit. Veteran of the Month, they started this 2 months ago. We were working on it. We were receiving applications from the Veterans Association, from the American Legion, and from the VFW. So all three of them have been sending in recommendations as we go along. That's how we got Mr. Pelosi. The city's children's literacy program, they're also be working with that. And they're also going to be working with the city town on his open house. We're going to do an open house on June 11th, 22 this year at Canalside. And it's going to be a fun event. We want to introduce all the different organizations in the city, from LDC to the Senior Citizen Center, and everybody involved with it. The sheriff's horses are coming down. We want to do a showing, bring a pop-up playground down there. I'd like to make it a nice event. The pavilion is built. It's our job to fill it and make these events happen. And with communication and working with the police department and the recreation department and DPW, we want to make things happen down there. But we want it to be exciting. We just don't want to do bang, bang, rock and roll. We're trying to do different initiatives down there, things that will help and understand and educate people on the history of Tonawanda. I think that's important. We don't want to lose that. So we're looking forward to it. And we'll keep you posted. Our calendar for the entire year for the summer is just about done. And it's already been handed into the Chamber of Commerce. They needed it by March 1st. And the city one comes out at the end of the month, going into April. We'll have that out so everybody can see what's happening throughout the city. So it's exciting. We're looking forward to it. Looking forward to seeing everybody participate at one function or another. But again, Chris, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor. Joseph Polini, he's in the final steps of signing a contract with the city and the mayor's office to break ground at Spalding Commerce Park. And I want to thank the city attorney, our deputy city attorney, the council, the mayor, the entire team for helping this come to fruition. Looking back, I first met Mr. Paolini a few years ago, and he's certainly passionate about developing in our community. So I'm certainly glad to see this coming full circle, but my hats off to everybody. About a week and a half ago, I received a phone call from Ron Pelosi, our administrative assistant, and he had just gotten home from the hospital. And he said to me that he was watching the situation in the Ukraine unfold, and he wanted to do something. He wanted City Hall to be a hub for donations so we can get them to the Ukrainian people as fast as we could. And I said that we work together, and through some research, I was able to connect with a woman from the Western New York area who was traveling to Poland that same week that I connected with her. And I called her up and I said, you know, what can we do? And she said, here's what our greatest need is. And I spoke to our administrative assistant and I said, you know, we'll put this out on Facebook. Our community is always warm and generous. So let's see what we get. And we had less than 48 hours to collect the donations and bring the donations to Lydia. So we put a post on Facebook, and wow, the residents certainly delivered. In that short time, my dining room table was overflowing. Monetary donations, medications, supplies. And I had the pleasure in representing the city of Tonawanda and delivering the donations to Lydia right before she was leaving. And they were packing those donations in suitcases so that she could give them to the Ukrainian people. And when she comes back, we'll be meeting to see what we can do to continue on with her mission. But I'd like to thank Ron, who was the driver behind this and put the wheels in motion. And a special thank you to all the residents who were around the clock. Were just delivering donations on the front porch. They certainly made a difference. And Lydia is on Instagram, and she has been documenting her travel through Poland and the Ukraine. So feel free to watch her videos and just the utmost love that she gives to everybody who donated. So, and certainly last but not least, my sincere thank you to Ron Pelosi on this well-deserved recognition, and his family, those that are joining us virtually, his entire family's in attendance this evening. And Ron has served our community and continues to serve our community. And we are so fortunate to have him. Even when we all thought that Ron was going to retire from public service, he came back, and he's just done a great job. So thank you for his family for being here this evening. And as we all part ways this evening, if you could please keep in your thoughts and prayers Ron and his entire family. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great night. With that said, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Mr. Rounstrau. All those in favor?
Aye.
Have a great night, everybody.
At this time, we'll be concluding the Zoom call. I appreciate everyone taking the time this evening to join us on our council meeting. Our next meeting will be Tuesday, April 5th. Have a great night and see you soon.
Right.